If you've been keeping your ear to the internet, you've probably heard the term cryptocurrency, but you may not know exactly what it means. Let me break it down for you. The cryptocurrency you've probably heard about is Bitcoin. It's the most popular and it is the one with the highest value. I believe at some point the value hit something like $1,500. It was the very first, 2009, and it was popular because a lot of people got into it and they poured their resources into it, and that's really what determines the value of a cryptocurrency. But how does it work? Well, quite simply, a cryptocurrency has a few commonalities, no matter what cryptocurrency you're talking about. The first is that it's decentralized. As opposed to a fiat currency, which has a government backing it, some sort of entity that controls it, there is no one who controls a cryptocurrency. It's designed to be that way. You own your cryptocurrency, you get to do what you want to do with your cryptocurrency, and there is no central server that keeps tabs of how much you have or what you're doing with it. Again, that's kind of alluring. The second commonality is that it is encrypted. Now, I'm not talking about adding a layer of encryption on top of the data. I mean, it's actually baked in to the digital DNA of every cryptocurrency. The currency units themselves, the transactions, everything you do with a piece of cryptocurrency is encrypted. And it's designed to be that way so that, well, you can get a bit of your privacy back. Now, going beyond that, the cryptocurrencies diverge. There's a few dozen of them right now, but they all more or less work the same way. They start with what's called a blockchain. You're going to hear about this if you ever want to mine a cryptocurrency rather than just purchasing it and trading it. Now, when we mine for cryptocurrencies, what it means is that we're using the power of a computer or a specialized device to get that chain of letters and numbers that will prove that we have unlocked a block. Now, that proof will go to a server and it will reward us with the value of that block, whatever it may be. Now, that value will differ from currency to currency because there are certain rules. These currencies all state at the beginning, before anyone starts mining, exactly how many mining units there are going to be. For example, for Bitcoin, there's only 21 million Bitcoins. Ever. You can't print more, you can't change the rules, you can't say, no, we want to double it. There will only be 21 million for all times. Now, you can divide that almost infinitely. You can have a section, a fraction, a tiny piece of a Bitcoin, and it will be worth whatever that fraction is. Now, other cryptocurrencies, like for example, Litecoin has 84 million and Dogecoin has 100 billion. Well, they'll play with the level of encryption and they'll play with the reward and they'll play with the total number of units in order to entice people to mine their currency because, again, that establishes the value. Now, let's take a look at one other thing, and that's the mining aspect, because I think that's probably the one you've heard about. People turning on their laptops and their desktops and priming for hours to find the proof that they should be rewarded with that blockchain. Well, in the early days, you could mine for Bitcoin. In fact, I mined for Bitcoin with a laptop not unlike this way back in the day. And I got, I think, the first one within about 12 minutes or so. Not bad. But if I were to do that today, it would be priming for years and years and years and would probably still never get me a Bitcoin. You see, that's another thing that is common in many of these cryptocurrencies, and that is that it gets progressively more difficult to unlock each successive block in the chain. That's on purpose. It rewards people who got in early. But it also means that you can no longer use a computer like this, a general purpose computer, to mine something like a Bitcoin, which is based on SHA-256. Instead, you need to use specialized ASICs, these pieces of silicon that just crunch numbers in order to do it. And even then, the return rate has greatly decreased. Now, what we have also seen is the rise of other altcoins, alt currencies, cryptocurrencies, something like Litecoin or Dogecoin, which are not based on SHA, but which are based on script. Now, script, it was designed specifically to resist the attempts to make ASICs to mine them. It's a slightly different type of hashing algorithm because it requires memory in order to find that chain of letters and numbers that will unlock it. That means that you can't make a customized ASIC, but rather you have to use some of these monster GPUs. Now, it is a fun world, but there are all sorts of reasons that you should be wary before you get involved in cryptocurrency. What I would suggest is you drop by some of the websites for Dogecoin and Bitcoin and Litecoin and just read up from the user experiences to find out if it's something that you want to do with your time. But until then, happy mining.